Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweatable podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. And I am so excited for today's episode because, to be honest, this is a lot of the reason that many of you are feeling so frustrated and stuck on your journey. And frankly, it's something that I am sick of because I feel like every time I get on social media, health and fitness is feeling more unattainable. Every time I hop on Instagram or TikTok, there's always one more thing we need to do or one more product we need to buy. It really has started to feel like unless you have this multiple hour long morning routine where you're getting sunlight and red light therapy and ice rolling and getting into the sauna and the cold plunge and doing a 10-minute meditation, but also going for a walk and making sure that you hit up a workout class. And your breakfast that you make has to be organic and grass-fed, and you need a multi-step supplement routine. It feels like you need all of these things, and if you can't do all of those things, then you might as well not even try because you won't be getting results. Like, unless you have this really extensive wellness routine, unless you have everything perfectly accomplished, you're not going to see any results. It also feels like every other day there is some new food group that's killing us, can't put in tampons. I know that that's not a food group, but there's always some sort of toxin we need to avoid. It is just feeling like constant fear mongering. And it makes sense because that is what gets clicks. The really catchy, scary titles like avoid this food at all cost or your breakfast cereal is what's killing you. Those are fear mongering. They're clickbait. They're going to get you to stop and watch the whole video because you're like, oh my God, I'm eating cereal. If I keep eating cereal, I'm going to die. And unfortunately, I want to caution you to be a cautious consumer because many of these claims aren't actually backed by any sort of research, or the research that they're claiming it is backed by is really cherry-picked data that is supporting whatever argument they're trying to make. And unfortunately, many of these creators know this, and again, they're just looking to increase their views, increase their social media engagement so that they can ultimately make more money from you. I know right now a big trend is the cortisol face, and everyone has you freaking out that you are too stressed and cortisol is absolutely ruining your life and your health and fitness goals and X, Y, and Z, and it's all this fear mongering. And then at the end of their post, they're selling you their very specific cortisol regimen that's going to help you decrease your cortisol and lose all the weight in your face. This is all very specific, very targeting marketing. And as a coach who truly is just passionate about what they do and wants to help people live a healthy life, it's really frustrating to watch because as a consumer and as someone who doesn't, maybe have access to all the research as someone who's in this industry does, it's very confusing. It feels really overwhelming. And this is actually the reason that I originally started and named my brand Sweat Simple. It's because when I started my own fitness journey, when I was in a place where many of you probably are now, I was frankly so sick of all of the crazy misinformation and overwhelm. I felt like everything I was reading was contradicting itself. I never felt like I was doing the right things. I was always confused about what the right thing actually was. And unfortunately, because of short form content, I feel like this has gotten so much more confusing in the last few years. And because of it, it's starting to make fitness feel really unattainable. Instead of focusing on the basics and what we truly need to be successful, be healthy, we start to assume that in order to be successful, we need these really specific, tiny details to be ironed out. We need the perfect meal timing. We have to buy these specific brands that this, girl on social media is telling us to. All of our food has to be organic. We need a million supplements. We have to do the cold plunge. We need to have like the best workout split. We even think that we have to walk on the treadmill at a certain speed or at a certain incline in order for it to, quote unquote count. You have to get that expensive Pilates membership. And we're so focused on buying things and chasing the next trend that we're not stopping to slow down and ask ourselves what the point is. And I understand that because yes, health and fitness is simple to its core. That doesn't mean it's easy. It still feels difficult to stay consistent in those very basic things. And because of that, we go down the path of this can't be as simple as everyone is making it out to be. Because if it was truly that simple, I would have already reached my goals. So instead of only focusing on those basics, we start to chase the shiny pennies that seems like everyone else is seeing success with. It sometimes feels a lot easier to go to the Pilates class than it does to find the workouts that are actually going to help you build muscle. It feels a lot easier to just buy the supplement than it does to actually start to change your mindset and ditch the all or nothing thinking that's held you back from seeing results in the past. It feels a lot easier to do the cold plunge and buy the cortisol package than it does to actually start to improve your body image and work on your self-efficacy. The quick fixes, the things that we're chasing all the time, feel easier in practice. They feel more simple than changing years and years of our habits and really digging deep into long-term behavior change. But the truth, and what I'm sure you can probably relate to, is that when we keep focusing on these quick fixes and the things that are on social media, we're actually really overcomplicating it to the point where it's feeling unattainable. We, as humans, most of us don't have time for these 2-hour-long morning routines. We don't have the budget or the access to only buy organic and very specific quote unquote health brands. And we start to feel so overwhelmed, so confused that when we can't just throw constant money at the supplements and the products, we eventually feel like what's even the point? And we're losing focus on what the point actually is, because the point is not to just buy things and chase the shiny penny and lose the weight really quickly. The point is that we want to feel good long term. Yes, like the point can be fat loss. It's okay to want to lose weight, but typically the point is overall health and longevity. And when it comes to that, simple is so much better than overcomplicating things. Like if your goal is to live as long as possible while feeling really good, and that can mean like physically feeling good in your body, but also being able to be mobile and move pain-free for as long as we can, then focusing on simple is so much more important. Health and fitness isn't unattainable, and it should be simple. And again, I know that this can be a hard concept to fully accept because, well, again, health and fitness can be simple. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy, because we have these habits and these mindsets that we've held for a very long time. Staying consistent in the simple things like eating in a calorie deficit, strength training, going on daily walks, eating your fruits and vegetables, those things still feel really difficult at times, whether it's because we have some all or nothing thinking and perfectionism that we need to work through, or we've never taken the time to actually establish the healthy routines that we need to make all of this feel easier, or maybe even simply you've just never had the education about the portion sizes and the nutrition that your specific body needs. Because of that, the simple things sometimes feel even harder. It feels harder to do this work that's going to get you long-term sustainable results than it does to just buy the quick fix. But taking the time to focus on the simple things, which actually is going to cost you a heck of a lot less money long-term, as opposed to just constantly buying the quick fixes, it's going to leave you in a much better spot. So I know that social media makes it seem like we need to buy all these things and have this really aesthetically pleasing life. It's just not the case. And you guys are going to be set up for much more success if you focus on not just the basics, but also the things that are going to make the basics start to feel easier long term. So I'm really going to encourage you to think about what are those things rather than looking at your favorite influencer on social media and saying, okay, you know what, this is really working well for her. I'm just going to go and do that. I would really start to encourage you to look at what are the things that are making the basic things feel so difficult for you right now. Again, is it that you just don't truly know what a proper portion size looks like for your body? Is it that you haven't yet found a workout routine that you're excited about? Is it that you've noticed that you have these really negative thoughts about your body and it's causing you to throw in the towel? Or maybe you fall into this like perfectionism mentality where if you're not doing it perfect, you're not doing it at all. Those are the things that I would really encourage you to work on and fix rather than just trying to buy the next thing. And of course, something like working with a coach, especially one who's certified in mindset and long-term behavior change like myself, can be really helpful in digging deeper into what those things are that are holding you back and actually helping you to overcome those for the future. But that sort of thing is an investment. Instead of throwing money at the quick fixes, the cold plunges, the supplements, start investing in things that are going to get you long-term sustainable results. Because my number one goal as a coach is to help you guys realize that health and fitness doesn't have to be so dang complicated. If what you're doing feels really confusing, something is wrong. Because what I learned in my own health and fitness journey and what I still know is true today, the more rules, the more restrictions you add on yourself, the harder it's going to be to maintain long term. So even though social media may not make us feel this way, simple is truly better. And with simple, you're going to get a heck of a lot further and see a heck of a lot more results than constantly chasing that next shiny social media penny. So I hope this episode was helpful. I hope you guys have a much better understanding of what it means to actually be successful and that health and fitness doesn't have to be as unattainable as social media has made it out to be. This episode was a little bit different than the content that I typically create. So if you guys found this was helpful, please consider shooting me a DM, letting me know. I would love to hear from you guys. But in general, thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.